Hi friend, it's me. I decided to split this video up because it was too long. It was over 40 minutes. So I've given you part one and this is part two of seeds for preparedness. I hope you're enjoying the video. Please remember to take notes, share, comment, like, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you want to know when it comes to seeds. Enjoy the video. Bye. You also want to know the variety. I briefly mentioned it, okay? Study the variety that grows best in your location. When purchasing seeds, there are hundreds of seeds in every category. You don't want to purchase a seed. You don't want to purchase a seed packet that's not going to grow in your location, because by you doing that, you're just going to be wasting your money. You're going to be wasting your time and you're going to be wasting your efforts. You want to make sure that you are going to grow seeds in the location where you are that's going to germinate good fruit. Know that this grows very well because I've grown it for 2 straight seasons and it has yielded great for me. If this type of bell pepper doesn't grow well in your location, don't buy it. Don't grow it. Same thing with poblanos. Poblanos did so well for me this year. They grew so large and so thick. They were just so tasty. I think one of my favorite peppers that I grew this year from seed were sweet peppers. Sweet peppers are those type of peppers that when you're in the garden and you're doing your gardening work and you see one that's ripe on the plant, just pull it off and eat it. Yes, you can eat it directly from the plant. You know why? Because you grew it. And it has no pesticides, no germicides, no nothing side on it except for healthy sides. It is a healthy pepper plant that you can consume because you grew it from seed. Now, if I knew that sweet peppers didn't do well, or maybe they get diseased, or they have these pest problems, pest pressure is high on them, I wouldn't grow it. Right? You don't want to purchase anything from these seed companies where you know it's not going to grow for you in that location. Okay, so look at the tomatoes that grow well for you. For instance, this is my determinate tomatoes. Okay, determinate tomatoes meaning that they have a set height that they're going to get to. And I don't really grow many of them because they don't yield much for me. And I need anything and everything that's going to yield the maximum amount of tomatoes, because not only do I grow for my immediate family in my home, but I also grow for my parents. And so when I grow for myself and for my parents, I want to grow whatever is going to yield the most for both groups, for both families, for both households. So you guys do your research. Ask people around. If you have farms close to you, ask your local farmers. Most of them are usually very nice and friendly and willing to help you out and to tell you what you should grow in your own garden so that you're not wasting time, nor are you wasting money. Another thing that you want to pay attention to when it comes to seeds for preparedness is to know the difference between a hybrid and an heirloom. A lot of people, for whatever reason, like to have this big, unnecessary, dramatic response to only growing heirloom tomatoes. Friends, a tomato seed is always going to yield a tomato. It's not going to give you anything else other than a tomato. Now, yes, if you are growing for taste, if you are growing for stability, if you are growing for what has been proven over and over and over again, then yes, you may want to grow heirloom tomatoes. But hybrid tomatoes are great as well. I grow both. I grow both heirloom and hybrid tomatoes because I want to try them both. And sometimes the hybrid tomatoes actually perform much better than the heirloom tomatoes because they are much more stable. They're disease resistant. Heirloom tomatoes, yes, will be stable in terms of always producing the same type of tomato year after year, but sometimes you do have problems, and that's why you want to make sure you know what seeds will work best where you are located. Now, some of you may be wondering, what actually is the difference between an heirloom tomato and a hybrid tomato? So here's the science in me, the biology teacher in me, and I'm going to briefly share it with you. I'm going to bring it down to its simplest form so that you can understand it, so that it makes sense to you. I'm not going to go into the actual in-depth nitty-gritty about it because I don't want to overwhelm anyone. An heirloom tomato is a tomato that has been around for many, 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 many years. And anytime you take the seeds from those tomatoes, every time you plant that seed, you're going to get the same exact tomato. Okay, an heirloom tomato was once upon a time a hybrid tomato, maybe two hybrid tomatoes that came together and has been processed over and over again in the terms of growing. They've grown it year after year, and over time it has become 100% stable or close to it, so that every time I plant this particular seed, I'm going to get the same tomato. So if I grew an heirloom tomato today, let's say tomato A, it's an heirloom tomato. I grew it today in 2021. If I take that tomato that I've grown and harvest the seeds from that tomato that I've grown and save it and process it so that I'm able to grow it next year, and then I now grow it in 2022, I'm going to get the same tomato A next year. That is what we call an heirloom tomato. Okay, these are tomatoes that have been in families for generations. They've been passed down. Just think about heirlooms, right? Things that have been passed down from one generation to the next. That's the same type of tomato. Another way to look at it is an heirloom tomato is a purebred tomato. It's a true breed tomato. It's a tomato that's true to itself. It's not going to change. There's nothing that's going to change it. It's just going to continuously produce the same type of tomato year after year. And so a lot of people like growing those because they are stable. They're also more tastier in the sense that they have been stabilized over the years. And so some people just prefer to grow them. And some people's gardens, they only just grow heirloom tomatoes. And if that's what you want to do, that's your choice, and that's absolutely wonderful and fine. But you can also grow a hybrid tomato. So what is a hybrid tomato? A hybrid is a tomato that is made from two parents. Like a hybrid plant, a hybrid animal coming from two different types of plants. And so when you have a hybrid plant, what happened is that you had one particular plant and another one, and these plants were growing up as they are, and then there was a cross-pollination that took place between them. All right, so now when there's a cross-pollination that takes place between them, what will happen with a hybrid tomato is that when you take tomato B, which is a hybrid tomato, you harvest that tomato, you take the seeds from that tomato, and you plant it next year in 2022, you're not going to get tomato B. That's a hybrid tomato. You're not going to get an exact replica of what you got. All right. What you're going to get is tomato C. That is what we call a hybrid tomato. And there's nothing wrong with it because, again, like I mentioned, a tomato is a tomato. Every time you plant a tomato seed, you're going to get a tomato. And when we're talking about preparedness and feeding your family and making sure there's food on the table, the goal here is to make sure that there's food on the table. Your child is not going to ask you which variety of tomato did you plant. Your child is not going to ask you the variety of zucchini that they see on their dinner plate. Your child is not going to ask you what type of pumpkin you gave them in pumpkin soup last night. They just wanted to know, are we going to eat some food? Okay, so don't overstress yourself. I would strongly suggest that you try both. One major thing that I also want to share with you when it comes to seeds is to save seeds. My dear friends, one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself is to save seeds. Because if what we're hearing in the gardening community, in the farming community, if what we're hearing right now is actually true, then a lot of people are going to be short of seeds because they're claiming that there's still going to be a shortage of seeds. Because remember, there have been a plethora, a huge rise, spike and the new gardeners and farmers ever since 2020 happened. And so that is such a great problem to have. It's wonderful that people are looking to be sustainable and to sustain themselves as best as they can by growing their own food. But there is a shortage, or there will be a shortage of seeds. And so one way that you can combat that for yourself and for your family is that if you grow a variety of anything, okay, that has seeds in it, which it will have seeds in it, what you should do is properly take the seeds out and process the seeds, harvest the seeds out of that fruit, and make sure that you save it for next year. Half of the bell peppers that I grew this year were grown from seeds that I saved last year. Half of them. I grew about 20 bell pepper plants, and 10 of them were grown from my own personal bell peppers that I grew last year. And so you want to keep doing that, and every year you'll get seeds. And the beauty of saving seeds is this: you took one seed and you planted it, and you're going to get an abundance of fruit. When you harvest one of those fruits from the plant, that one fruit has an abundance of seeds in it. So if you're taking a pepper, for instance, let me give you an example. My husband bought me a pepper called a ghost pepper. I forget the actual scientific name, and I will put this in the description box for you, but it's called a ghost pepper. It's a very, very extremely spicy pepper. He bought it for me for Mother's Day in May. He bought it from a nursery. We visited a local nursery in the location that we were in, and I saw a pepper plant that I've never seen before. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it in person. So because I didn't have the seeds for it, he decided to purchase the plant for me. And so I brought the plant home. I put it into the ground when it was the right temperature to place it outside, and it grew an abundance of peppers, very hot, spicy peppers. But because I didn't know where to get the seeds, and I didn't think I needed to order the seeds from anywhere, I just took one of the plants and harvested the seeds. Probably from one of the peppers, I harvested about 50 seeds. And now I have 50 potential plants that I can grow the same type of pepper plants. So save the seeds that you like, save seeds from the variety of the foods that you like. If it's a bean, make sure you let the bean dry on the plant. That's the best way to save the seeds. Let the pea dry completely on the plant. And then when it's dry, then take off the casing, save the seeds in an airtight container so that it doesn't mold, it doesn't come in contact with moisture, so that next year you can plant it. Please make sure that you get into the habit of saving seeds. As a gardener, as a farmer, seed saving is crucial. It is very, very crucial. You must be ready to save seeds. So if you're growing a specific variety of plants that you like, make sure you save the seeds. Saving the seeds will save you a lot of money, and it will actually help you out in the long run. So just in case you get to the store and your favorite type of okra is not available, you probably have seeds from it. Okay, so you can look it up, Google it, research it, read it in a book on how to save seeds properly. Really quickly, before I share with you how to store your seeds when you do get your seeds, I want to talk to you about something that is very extremely important. And I've mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again, and I'm actually going to show you what I'm talking about. When you purchase a seed packet from a store or you order it online, one thing you will notice on the back of it, usually on the back towards the bottom, would be the sell by. It will tell you when it was packed, and it will also tell you the sell by date. This sell by date is not an expiration date. Okay, so if you look at the bottom of the packets of seeds, for instance, in my hands, I have an early scarlet globe radish packet of seeds in my hands. I purchased it this year. So it will tell you specifically when it was packed, right? Meaning when they were harvested and packed for selling. So it tells me it was packed for 2021 and that it should be sold by 12/21, which is December 2021. This does not tell me that it's expired. Friends, brothers and sisters, seeds don't expire. They're not going to expire. Do not throw them away. All right, this is just standardized information. We all know how things work, right? Especially if you live in the country where I live in, the United States of America. We know how things work, how laws are written. And so for the safety of people, they are recommending that stores don't sell this. After 12/21, that a store should not sell this. It doesn't mean that it is expired. What it means is that it should just be sold, all right? And if it's sold, then hopefully it was used. This packet of seeds are still great. Next year, I will not be purchasing radishes because I have an abundance of radish seeds. I have a lot of seeds because I buy in abundance. Once I see them, I buy in abundance because I want to keep them. And then also the different varieties, I want to be able to grow them. And then if someone says that they want to grow radish seeds and they couldn't find them, the good thing about it is that I have a packet of radish seeds that I have that I'm not using, and I can give it to my friends and to my family and my loved ones so that they can also grow their own radish seeds. So expiration dates are non-existent when it comes to seeds when you are purchasing from local stores, or if you are actually keeping the seeds in your home. They are not expired. Please grow them. Before we end this video, I want to show you how you can store your seeds. When I first started gardening last year, the way I was storing my seeds were in a very small container. Actually, this container right here. I had this container because I only had enough seeds to fit just this container, and I created these individual dividers for my seeds. So I separated my tomatoes and my peppers and my herbs and my carrots and my squash by those dividers. But as you can see, my seed stash has grown tremendously. In fact, I have 2 of these. I didn't want to put both of them on the table for you to see it, but I have many seeds that I have stored and I have properly packaged. So right in front of me in this small container that I started off with, the young shall grow. All right. The earth shall definitely yield its increase in our lives. And it has definitely done so in my life and in my seed stash. Here I have some sprout seeds. And so sprouts are a completely different thing. I want you to get ready because we will have a video coming up very shortly on sprouts and microgreens. And so these are sprouting seeds, and these are mung bean sprouting seeds. So their packaging is a lot larger. I ordered this from True Leaf. Is that what they're called? True Seeds, True Leaf. I'll leave it down below. All right, I ordered these sprouting seeds from them, and I just placed it here because it works best. And so make sure you get the container that will work best for the type of seeds. And most seed packets are not packed like this. These are just for sprouts because their seeds are naturally larger. Now, most of the seeds that you will purchase are going to be in these types of packets. And so the best way that I have found to package my seeds, because when the season has started, the gardening season has started, it can become very chaotic when you're dealing with seeds. And if you're anything like me, I put on my apron and I take the seeds that I want to grow and I put them in my pockets, and then when I come back in, I don't put them away, and then sometimes they get squished in your pocket or water will get on them. A host of things can happen, but you want to preserve them in a way that you will be able to continuously use these seeds. What I found is that you want to use airtight containers, okay? And so one container set that I've purchased, which I will link down below, is this type of container set where you can see that I have all of my seeds labeled. Okay, they are labeled, and it's so much easier for me to find the seeds as opposed to looking for them. So as you can see here, I've created labels for them according to what they are, and it's just so much more easy for me to find them as opposed to throwing them, because eventually as the seed collection grew, I started throwing them into boxes, and so they were just scattered everywhere. Everything was mixed with everything. And so now all of my grains and my fruits and my carrots, radish, and my peppers and tomatoes and my peas and okra and different types of beans, my onions, you can see here, broccoli, they're all separated and they're kept in these airtight containers. All right, it's so much easier for you to do this. This type of method is kind of costly, so if you're looking for a method that is a lot cheaper, what I would recommend is to get one of these containers that you probably can get from one of your local stores, like an Aldi or a Lidl or a Walmart. You can get one of those plastic clear tubs. All right, get something like that, and then go to the dollar store and purchase pencil cases. That is simply what this is. These are pencil cases that I'm using for my flowers. And so what I've done is I've separated my flowers by season. So this one here is for the summer. This one is for spring. I also have one for the autumn season. So what I know is that if I want to plant flowers in the springtime, I would just pull this container out, go through the seeds that I have, pick the seeds, and based on after I've done my crop planting, I know the types of flowers that I want to plant, then I will just pick those seeds and begin the seeds accordingly. Okay, so there are many different methods that you can use. Please do not become overwhelmed. Do not become discouraged, because I definitely didn't start this way. I started, like I mentioned, with this small container here, all of the seeds that I owned last year. Every single seed that I owned last year, starting from fall of 2019 into the spring of 2020, it all fit in this container. But because you're introduced into more varieties and you want to try different things out, my seed collection has grown tremendously, and so I've invested in this container here, and the goal is for it to stay here for many, many years and for it to keep growing if that's what God wants me to keep doing. All right, so having your own seeds is a tremendous blessing. One thing that I know I cannot lack is food. As long as I have the right conditions, I will be able to grow something that my family will be able to eat and consume. And that is the beauty of having seeds. Being prepared with your seeds first starts off, like I mentioned, with knowing the types of foods that your family wants to eat, knowing the seeds that work in your location, knowing how much of the seeds that you want to purchase so that you are well prepared, and then eventually planting out those seeds. And so in upcoming videos throughout the month of this December and further, we are going to look at how to start seeds, when to start seeds, why you should start seeds, the way you should start them, how to set up a growing station in your home, and so many other things that we can look at so that by the time 2022 comes, because believe it or not, we are less than a month away from 2022, we are going to be starting our seeds off early in January, probably the second week of January, so that we can get a head start, so that when the last frost date comes, we will be ready to plant outside and grow the best garden that we've ever grown. My dear friends, thank you for spending your morning, your afternoon, or your evening with me, listening to how you can actually be prepared with the seeds that you purchase from a store or the seeds that you're saving from the foods that you are currently eating. I pray that this video has blessed you. I pray that you've learned a lot. If anything here has resonated with you and you've learned something, please do me a huge favor and share this video with your friends, with your loved ones, so that we can continue to grow this community. I thank you for watching this video, and until next time, may the earth yield its increase in your life and in your garden. God bless you. Bye.